Today I'm going to share with you guys the 3 main and only components of the forehand. And that goes from all the way back to Ken Rosewall, to Stefan Edberg, Steffi Graf, and to today's game of Djokovic, Federer. They all share these 3 same primary components. Everything else is just bells and whistles. A lot of it's marketing. You're getting sold on something. So I'm going to share with you guys the 3 most important components. And then from there, we can build around and make it your own personal forehand. So, step 1, I always have players. This is just a basic beginning level, right? We turn to the side, we set down our racket, okay? And we have our hand, I have it back so that my body turns. So, when I tell beginners when we work on forehands, before I even have them go to here, I say, all right, racket back. They call this pat the dog, right? Now take your hand, try this at home. Take your hand, and I want in your arm, point it forward. Now what I want you to do is I want you to take it and take it back to where your racket is. Now you're going to feel tension here in the hip, and that's essentially all coiling is. It's just taking the arm and bringing it back with the racket so that you can turn into it. So I use that during step 1 when I teach it, okay? So step 1, we turn it aside, our racket's down. I don't care what grip you're in, all right? Whatever comes naturally usually, and then I'll teach you the grips later. Racket's back. Now we rotate to contact point. So I emphasize, when you make contact, this is the most important thing here. When I make contact, my hip opens up and fires, okay? And what that means is I'm rotating, there's contact, and the hip opened up at the same time. If I open up my hips and then make contact when I'm opening up my hips and my racket's back here, that's why your ball is late, okay? If you swing here and then open up your hips, right, you're late in a different way. You're actually early reaching for the ball, okay? So we have to have our balance going from here to contact point. And a lot of times I'm going to have players hit short court with that, all right? And just learn how to sort of almost like bunt the ball up and just time it and rotate it. And actually, if I want to, just by doing that, I can hit a ball better than most, 3-5, 4-0 players just by pausing on contact, because it's not like I'm actually like blocking the ball. I'm still using my body and I'm training myself to hit the ball in the same spot. So I'll show you this. Here it is, and I pause on contact. Now, another reason I really emphasize in step 2, pausing on contact, is I don't like telling players to just follow through. Jeez, I probably coach more than 60, 70-year-old coaches, because especially when I was really young, when I was first starting out and building top 10 players, top 50 players in a country, top 10 in a section, I had a name trying to prove myself, right? Now that that's done, I'm still really motivated, but I have all those hours underneath my belt, and it's like 60 hours a week. It was insane. So, and what I found is this: when I tell players to follow through, a lot of coaches use the follow through as a teaching tool, and that's not wrong, but I'm just telling you what I've found with most players. If I tell them to follow through without emphasizing the contact point, a lot of times you see players do this, right? Or they rotate and they do this. So the problem is my elbow's in, right? And what we want our arm to go out towards our target, and then the follow through happens. So if they're able to do this, phase 2 correctly, step 2 correctly, let me get some more balls, hold on. Where they're coming here and they're pausing the contact and they're pushing it deep, I really have to actually emphasize stopping my arm. You see how it goes forward like that? It naturally should happen. And then once they're able to do that and hit it consistently, then I tell them, okay, now just let that racket naturally fall through over the shoulder. So that was step 3, is the follow through. So step 1, and I'll share with you a really key point. You're going to want to stay and listen to this one. But step 1 is turn the side racket back. Step 2, contact point. Once that's good, step 3, if we're following through, we're going all the way to the finish. So I have 2 ways of teaching this, and you can use this as a coach to understand this. If you're a player trying to get better, this really drills it home. The first one being like a punch, okay? So with all these full Western grips, I see it more now than anything. In these semi-Western grips, players just overbrush the ball. That's why if you look at my last video of classic tennis, if you just work on depth and placement more, you're going to become a way better player. Unless you're like a superstar and you're going to play pro and can hit amazing power, then all that crazy spin might be for you. But so I got off on a tangent there. My follow through, if I'm just going to contact point and extending out, it's like a punch. I want to extend my energy towards my target, so the arm's coming all the way out, right? And I tell players, if you do really short like this swings, what it's like if I'm going to punch someone and do like an uppercut all of a sudden and change my direction, there's no energy transfer there from the feet to the legs, hips, up to the follow through. The next way I coach it is I have a lot of academic players. So, I have a lot of groups, so I separate it by skill level, heart, all that stuff. But I coach each player according to, their personality and what their strengths are. So I have some more academic ones, and I relate it to energies. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed; it's transferred. So in this idea, when you're swinging, the energy, as you swing faster and faster, you're naturally going to have a follow through. Okay, maybe short court when you're getting a game, you're just working on extending out, right? So then as you swing faster and faster, if you stop all of a sudden, it's like putting brakes on your shoulder. It's going to hurt, And so I asked my players, I'm like, when's the last time you went on vacation where you took a flight? And, they'll tell me. And I'll say the follow through is also like an airplane, okay? So the reason I need to finish over my shoulder is because I need, like an airplane landing, I need runway to slow down, right? So all that time, when I go and swing, all my energy is going forward, and then I need to finish my rotation so I can displace that energy. That's my energy to slow down. But so many players aren't even swinging fast enough, and then they just go straight up or straight over a side, and the ball doesn't go anywhere. So that's the three basic, most fundamental concepts of the forehand. And if you go watch Steffi Graf, if you go watch Edberg, whether they have continental, whether they have Eastern, semi-Western, full Western, it's those three same fundamentals. And really quick at the end, I'll tell you about this stuff. The racket flip and all that, that's just bells and whistles. So, and maybe it helps you with your timing, right? It just depends. That's what I have to work on with each player individually on. But everyone has a different intro. Some start here, some start here, some start here and go. That's something to work on. But if you really look at all the players from the past or today, you're going to see after the intro, whatever this may be, you're going to see this, you're going to see this, and you're going to see a follow through. But you'll see the arm extension, even Jack Sock and Francis Tiafoe, who have crazy spin. All right. Till next time, guys.